Hey, this is Adam Torres, and I'm here to tell you that it has never been easier to start your very own podcast. At Mission Matters, our goal is to amplify stories that matter. That means we want to help you start your podcast because your story matters. We can do this in 3 different ways. 1, join our podcast school and take a free or paid course. 2, visit our resources page where we've already figured out what you need, such as where to host your podcast. Or 3, heck, we can even do everything for you through our podcast agency, including editing for cheaper than you can do in-house. Oh, and no contract, service is month to month. Get started by heading over to missionmatters.com and click on Start a Podcast. All right, now let's get into the show.
Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Money Podcast, your source for all things money. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Lorne Jenkins on the line, and he's co-founder over at Mini Money Management. Lorne, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, so excited to get into today's topic. So we're going to talk about financial literacy and the importance it has on the Black Lives Movement. But before the Black Lives Matter movement, but before we get into that, let's get a little bit further into what you're doing over at Mini Money Management. So first, tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
Yeah, so I took a childhood game that my mom played with me, and we turned it into an app to help kids learn about financial literacy through everyday experiences. So when I was 8 and my little sister was 5, we asked my mom to go out to eat every single day, and she got fed up with it. And her way to deal with it is that she made a household economy. And so we got a salary, we had to pay for rent, utilities, and it was more to go out to eat than it was to stay in. And so for us, we learned about money naturally. It was an everyday type thing, and so that's what we put into an app. So for parents and for teachers is our main 2 goals, because those are obviously the people who have kids. And we're really looking at that K through 8 range. So the kids will get a salary every week, and they'll have to pay for, if they're in school, their desk rental, and they'll have to pay for the janitor and for lunch. And we really wanted to focus on money, and kids start to get spending habits by the time they turn 5. So it's not like it's too early for them to learn money. But at the end of the day, there's not a lot of resources available for teachers and parents that can help you teach money just like, kind of naturally. It's either a class or someone comes in and, speaks. So we wanted it to come from our parents, from the teachers, teaching your kids just every day how money can work in the real world.
That's awesome. I love this idea, and I love the way you created this. And what's fun about it to me, I shouldn't even use the word fun, what's practical about it to me is you grew up playing this game, and I'm like, this is amazing. So your mom was the impetus for starting this, and I think it's awesome. So how do people connect with the game, or like how do they get involved? Because I think it's a really cool concept and idea.
Absolutely. So for parents, what we really do try to say is that it's a parenting app. Because at the end of the day, my mom's saying that summer was give me $1. So instead of yelling, instead of grounding, instead of any type of arguing, it was now it's a fine. And so the reason that we kind of have turned it into more of a parenting app for homes is that parents can essentially, it's super easy for them to log on. We have a lot of everything automated for you. So it really works like a mobile banking app for your kids. And so the only thing that parents really need to do is say, okay, how do I want to fit this to my everyday living? You only need to use it 5-10 minutes a day. And, if your kid has some behavior that you want to discourage, you fine them. And now when they can either spend that money to pay a fine, or they can go, buy some candy, or buy swimming, or go pay to go swimming, then they really start to think, okay, do I want to leave my room dirty or not clean my dishes, or do I want to go do the fun things like play video games and watch TV? And on the parent side of things, we try to make it as the least amount of work as possible so that kids can just naturally learn about money.
That's awesome. I think it's a great idea. So let's see. Let's get into today's topic. So the financial literacy and the importance it has on the Black Lives Matter movement. I mean, where do you want to start with this? This is a big topic.
Yeah, it's a huge topic. And I think the reason that this is something I love to talk about is because this is why we started the company in the first place. I consider myself unbelievably lucky to have a mom and to have raised me and taught me financial literacy growing up. But growing up and seeing how other kids, what happened when they didn't get that financial literacy, I've got stories for days. But when you leave the house for the first time and you don't know how to use money, then that's when you start to make those decisions. And those decisions will stay with you for the next 10, 15, 20 years. Like student loans don't just go away. I wish they would, but they don't. And so I think that when you look at a lot of the kids who either go to college for the first time or get into debt, a lot of them are kids of color. And they don't have that same financial backing that somebody else who may get into a different situation may have. So for me, it's let's have those kids make a mistake at the age of 6, 7, and 8, as opposed to 17, 18, and 19, where that impact is going to be a lot larger.
Wow, that makes so much sense, and I get it 100%. So how the app ties into it overall. So what do you think? So there's parents listening right now, and they're like, you definitely piqued their attention. They're like, okay, this is a resource. This is something I can use. Let's talk about kind of the user experience, because I want to get, because I think some people, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like some people, they get intimidated because they're like, I don't know that I know the most about money. Like, how am I going to teach my kid about money if I don't know? Because for my parents growing up, the way they didn't know much about money, so they essentially, they got me mentors or other things, but they never really took me through a program or anything like this. I wish they had, by the way, but because I didn't really start even going down that path until I was maybe in my teens. But this is awesome because it's even something that people can do younger or earlier with their kids. So tell us a little bit more about that user experience.
Yeah, so for parents, what it's really going to look like is that they're going to log on, and you have a majority of the finance as we take care of it for you. Because, again, it's very hard to teach a subject that most people weren't taught. So if most adults aren't financially literate, then how can you expect them to teach their kids, which obviously then just creates a pretty harmful cycle. And so what we do is that we just say, look, a household economy or a classroom economy is a very simple thing to do. And so the salary is going to go to their accounts automatically. Their rent's going to be charged automatically, food, transportation, all that's going to be taken care of. So that's why we label it as, for parents, a parenting tool, and for teachers, as a classroom management tool, because all parents and teachers have to do is just impact behavior. Nobody wants to be, well, teachers want to be teachers, but parents don't really want to teach their kids subjects. That's why they send them to school. And I think a lot of parents realize that after they had to homeschool for a few months. They're like, yeah, this is pretty difficult. But a lot of parents love to parent and love to see their kids grow and, have motivation and responsibility. And so what they really do is that we then give them the tools to more, effectively manage their behavior. So the bonus and the fine is a very simple concept, but the impact of it is felt a lot more widely because it's tied to their everyday living. So it's not just a grounding or you don't get your skateboard this week. It's like, okay, wait, I may not be able to go out to eat because I was acting poorly. And now they're starting to really get those lessons, like not only those financial literacy lessons, but those lessons that you want them to learn as children. And all you really have to do is just do bonuses and fines, and we handle pretty much everything else for you.
Oh man, that's awesome. I think this is a great idea. It's a great program. So next steps, Lorne, if somebody is listening to this and they want more information and they want to connect and they want to, start using this for their children, I mean, what's the best route for them to go about connecting with you and your brand?
Absolutely. So for parents and teachers, go to minimoneymanagement.com. For parents, we've got a 10-day free trial, and for teachers, we're trying to keep everything completely free. So obviously the app's going to look a little bit different for both users, but the same general concept.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, Lorne, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background and all the great things you're doing to help parents and teachers to educate the next generation of money. So thank you for that. And to the listeners, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave a review on the Apple iTunes Store. And if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Money, definitely give us a subscribe there, but also leave some comments in the video. Love to know what kind of projects and things that you're working on. And Lorne, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.